It's time for a review. Now, if you think I'm passionate about putting aircraft in flight, which I am very passionate about, and there's actually one thing I'm even more excited about. I have hinted in the past, and you've seen stuff, but that's space. I'm a big space nerd, geek, the whole lot. Even though, you know, love Star Wars, I'm a big hard science thing. I stay up every night, sometimes till 2 o'clock in the morning. I watch every SpaceX launch. I watch the ULA, the Atlas launches, the whole lot. Love it, okay? And coming into this hobby, I didn't really know that there was a lot of space stuff that was molded in plastic or resin or what have you. And ever since I found out, I've been gobbling them up, but I haven't started a one. So it starts today. Right, tonight. Have we got another launch to watch? Got to watch this, see the schedule, see when the next one is. It's so exciting. SpaceX landed at Cape Canaveral for the first time. Absolutely fantastic. You've got to get onto this stuff, people. I mean, forget about, I won't say his name, the orange Cheeto haired dude. You know who he is. And all the other idiots out there and from both sides of the political spectrum, all that sort of nonsense. Forget about it. It's short term. It's transitory. Look up. Space. That's where the future is. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to review the first private spaceship, SpaceshipOne, and the kit by Amodel, which I think is from Ukraine or Russia. Does it really matter? I shouldn't say that. Yeah, okay, Amodel. I've never built one of theirs kits before. I have no idea what the quality's like. Yes, I do. I've opened it already, and it's not that good. But this kit's 1/72 scale. We're going to have a quick look at it, and then I'm going to build it. So here it is, the WhiteKnight and SS1 or SpaceshipOne. That's the box art. Now I'm not sure if that's actually a photoshopped photo of the finished model or actual aircraft. It's hard to tell. I think it is actually the model. If so, they've done a really good job there, because when you look at the plastic, it's not that grand. It's okay. It's yeah. Let's have a quick look. Right. It's 1/72 scale, which means it's okay. It's actually quite large, the carrier aircraft. Before I get into it, let's just have a talk about WhiteKnight and SpaceshipOne. If you don't know what's going on here, this is two aircraft, or one spacecraft, one aircraft. WhiteKnight 1 is this funny thing on top. It's a carrier aircraft, okay, and it carries SpaceshipOne to I think 50,000 feet. Is that about right? I should know this off the top of my head because I know this stuff. Yeah, about that. Okay, then it drops SpaceshipOne, and a few seconds later it ignites its rocket engine, which is powered by laughing gas of all things and rubber, and it goes up to 100 k's, up to 100 k's straight up, which is considered the Garmin line, I think it is, which is space, and you get weightlessness and a few things for about 3 to 6 minutes, and then it glides because it's got no power left. It glides back to Earth. And there's a few other features in there which are, from an aerodynamic and aerospace point of view, absolutely fantastic and fascinating, and this is what I really love about space. If you really should get the book about SpaceshipOne. There's a few books out there, and there's a great documentary I think called The Black Sky, and about the actual space race, about the X Prize, behind all why this came to fruition, and yeah. Anyway, so what you're actually doing here is you're building two kits. You're building the carrier aircraft, and you're building SpaceshipOne. Now if you look closely, and I'll show you just very simply using the nose cones, they have the same cockpits, okay? Now they did this for a variety of reasons. Basically, they had a team of private astronauts and test pilots, and they took turns. The cockpits are literally identical for WhiteKnight and SpaceshipOne, and what that means was whoever was test flying the spaceship, the other test pilot was actually in the carrier aircraft, and vice versa. There was a bit of a round-robin team that went on, because it's good training to be inside the aircraft where you've got full flight control and jet engines. Yeah, so what that means is, from a building point of view, you're actually just building two cockpits, and that's what you get. You get 2 sprues. Okay, there's the base and all the parts. So I'll start with the first problem with this kit. Okay, what they've done, and it makes sense, it does make sense, is they've molded the full nose cone in clear. Okay, and then what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to mask those small portholes and then paint over the rest, which makes sense, but the plastic, clear plastic, is not very clear. I'll see if I can get a picture of this. I'll get my trusty blue. Will that work? No, let's not. Let's try this. Let's use the instructions. Okay, and yeah, look at the distortion there. So that leads to, well, it's not a problem. Okay, what can you do? Let's have a look. What can you do about it? Well, basically, you can polish out the bits that are going to be seen, because if you can barely see it, but they've scored just very slightly. They've scored the marks where you're supposed to put the portholes. You might be able to see it on the camera, but it's barely imperceptible. So the solution I've pretty much got for this is to do some die cut. There you go. You can probably just see it there. See the circle for one of the portholes. Let's get some die cut masks and put them on. Cut them out myself, or I'll scrounge through my leftover canopy mask sets, because all of the canopy mask sets have wheel masks, and I never paint wheels because I do all my aircraft wheels up. So I might be able to use those. So what I'll do is I'll polish using, we'll try Future, that's probably not good enough. We'll use the Tamiya polishing compounds and try to get this a bit clearer. Because yeah, all you need to do is you just need the clear bits for the portholes, which means on the flip side, you're not going to see much of the cockpit, and you know, they give you some basic details. I'll go through them in a minute for the cockpit itself. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. It should come out in the wash. Yeah. So let's just go to the instructions first. Oh, I'm jumping all over the place, aren't I? I'm just so excited about this kit. You know, I've got 20 builds in the go. Let's start another one. But yeah, I recently finished a book about the X Prize itself, and I got that for my birthday just a few weeks ago, and I'm just so excited about reading that again. Even though this happened 10 years ago, I want to build this model, so that's why I'm pulling it out. So as you can see, they say 2 times, because yeah, 2 cockpits, not many parts, and you're not going to see a lot. I will put I've got a few 172 crew lying around, some astronauts and so forth for my. I've got an SR-71 and 172nd scale I want to do. That scale is really good for spaceships, for spacecraft, so I've got a few figures. I will pop one in. So build the cockpit. You build a very, very simple, the fuel tank and the major nozzle. You build the wing. There it is, slots together. There's SpaceshipOne right there. There's the nose cone, the cockpit with a few more details and photo etched, and the wing. Instructions so far don't look too bad. They're fairly clear, which is good. And there's the final assembly of SpaceshipOne. You do have the option of wheels up or wheels down, and of course I'm not going to do wheels down. That's just silly, because these are spaceships, not cars. So yeah, there's the feathered wing that goes on the sides, and basically it looks like, and I've had a look at the parts, I have to be very, very careful. It looks like they just literally butt join in the skid at the front and the wheels at the back, so I've got to be careful about that, about getting that done correctly. So that looks alright as is. Then we move on to WhiteKnight, and as you can see, cockpit is identical, nose cone's identical, so you've already done that, so good production line. You've got the central fuselage, you've got 2 of these small, I think they're JE79 engines. There's not a lot of detail on them. I don't like this 2-part for the nozzle back there, so yeah, that might be a bit tricky to do. Well, I might extra detail that one. Now the thing with doing the wheels up, wheels down solution with WhiteKnight is, from memory, I'll just double check. Yeah, the front wheels are fixed, so you have to do that. That's the front wheels down. Get it right, Chris. Down there. Okay. Here's the booms coming together. There's twin booms, are identical. The outside wings. And then we fit the engines to the top of the wing. Okay. It looks like that join should be easy to fill in. There will be a join there for the jet engines. So maybe it's not too bad. And then this looks like I've been building Academy's P38 for a crazy kit bash idea. And yeah, putting the booms together on that and getting it all aligned, what a bloody drama. So this could be a similar sort of drama. Okay, so you've got these two long spindly booms, you've got the center section going in like that, and then the tail plane's there. So I think I'm going to spend a lot of time dry fitting that, because when we have a look at the parts in a minute, you'll see it's not exactly Tamiya quality. And then Spaceship One just docks in under there. And then we get to the colour scheme, and I'll give you a little tidbit which is quite interesting about this. It is quite a colourful colour scheme. It's basically gloss white. So my simple solution for that is to paint this all in white Stynylrez primer, and then use a Tamiya or a Guns lacquer based white, gloss white over the top of that. And yeah, the interesting thing is there's not a lot of colours here, and most of it's done by the decals, as you can see here. Okay, so you've got these decals on, they're quite matte. I'm a bit skeptical about them, so the gloss coat has to be bloody perfect. They're good. They're very, very crisp decals. They look, you know, they look like the real thing. They look all correct. Losing my voice. But yeah, one interesting thing, they make you paint the leading edges of Spaceship One and his nose, okay, because they were heat treated for the re-entry into the atmosphere. It's not like the space shuttle that it comes in at Mach 25. It comes in about Mach 3.6 from memory, which is fast. For those of you who don't know what Mach means, that's fast. Okay, and they give an interesting colour call out. They go Humbrol 178 scarlet for these leading edges. Now, if you look at reference photos of the real Spaceship One, it is its scarlet colour. It's similar. It is not. So don't get into the trick. It is not this colour. Okay, they painted that's a different red. What it actually is I literally laughed out loud reading this. When they were developing the heat treatment for those leading edges, because they would come under a lot of heat coming back into the atmosphere, they tried all the chemist at Scale Composites, he tried all different compounds and all different weird and wonderful ideas, and it just struck him one day, and the team, they just decided to use putty. 2-part epoxy putty. You know the bog that you put on cars to fix holes? That's literally what it is, because they found that it's as effective as any sort of really weird exotic compound that costs 100 times more. And when Bert Rutan, the chief designer of the spaceship, heard about this, he said, well, that's fine, but you just can't have, you know, this pink body putty along the leading edges of this. Everybody's going to know it's, you know, it's bog. So they dyed it, and they added all these weird speckles to it to make it look all fancy and, you know, graphite looking. And you know what one of the speckles was in there? Oregano. And as Bert Rutan says, isn't that cool? So anyway, so you're going to have to get some scale oregano to put on those leading edges. Don't know where you're going to find that. And yeah, there's WhiteKnight, the full. As you can see, she's what's a wingspan? 387 millimeters, so almost 40 centimeters. Okay, so she's big. So we'll have a look at the sprues, have a look at the plastic quality. Alright, so let's start with Spaceship One. Okay, so that's basically the feathered wing. And what the feathered wing is, the spacecraft actually folds in half. That's how it re-enters. That's how it slows down. It's a fascinating process. Now, if we look at the plastic quality and the sprue gates and everything else, okay, you just need to know I'm an assembler, alright? I like things just to go together, no fuss, no problems, let's just do it. And when I see this, I get a little bit sort of, what's the word? Not excited, like, oh god, that sort of stuff. There's lots of scratches on the plastic. You can tell the molds are not top quality, you know, so the camera's not picking it up, but there's lots of surface scratches and so forth, so that have to be buffed out. The way the things you attach, the lines aren't perfectly straight. You know, the molds are okay. I mean, the scribe detail is just good enough. I'll probably put a scriber over those. They're okay. Okay. There's no untoward ejection pin marks. There's a few sink marks here. Okay. Come on, camera, pick that up. There, sink marks. So
this is the quality throughout the kit. It's sort of like this, so you just have to live with it. It's a short run kit. It's relatively expensive. I think it costs $50 Australian delivered. So yeah, it's not cheap, but it's not, you know, to the moon. No pun intended. Here's the main fuselage piece, I think. Yeah, that's it. And again, same sort of quality. There's scratches on the surface there. There's a couple of sink marks there, and the leading edge, they've sort of put a scribe mark in, but it's really dodgy. So that's going to have to be redone. The inside's no locating pins. So this is not an assembler's kit. It's a gonna have to up my basic modelling skills, Chris. You're gonna have to pull your finger out, and oh my god. Yeah, so here's the small parts, the undercarriage, and I believe that's the part that attaches the two aircraft together. Oh, there's a part missing there. Oh god, hope not. Keeping on, there's the major cockpit parts. These are identical sprues, so makes sense. Two tailplanes, two cockpits, and the jet engines. The detail it's okay. It's quite soft. Might get away with putting a few wires and things in there. The turbine face is not the best. Might do some very careful carving of that to let's see if you can see that. Yeah, it's a bit soft. Might have a look in the PE spares pile, see if I can get something better for that. Yeah, so, nope, speak of the devil, there it is. They give you some pieces to put over that, so that's good. Okay, so moving on to, that's pretty much all it is for Spaceship One. There's not much to him, he's small. These are the main pieces of WhiteKnight, the central fuselage. The moving surfaces have a bit more of a scribe line to them, which is good, but as you can see, that edge is not very straight. There's a lot of flash. Yeah, and yeah, the scratches and things. Again, this is going to have to be assembled and then buffed out very, very carefully, because the gloss, looking at those decals and just the whole ship. I mean, the ship's made out of composites. It's not made out of aluminium. This is basically a fiberglass Kevlar, you know, composite aircraft. So the surface has to be baby ass smooth. Okay, that's an official term. Here's the booms, and again, same sort of thing. There's some vortex things here that they're not too bad. I'm hoping these raised bits are just locating pins, because they're not very well defined. And yeah, again, soft. It's quite soft. Look at the same boom, and the last one is the tail planes. Oh, there is, okay, some locating pins there. That's good. You can see that, locating pins. Again, oh yeah, that's going to have to be completely rescribed. Can you hear that? It's almost raised, but what they've done is they've just been lazy with cutting the mold there, because this one's okay. It's recessed. This one's not. That's all right. I know full on going into this kit that it's going to be a case of spending more time. Oh, yeah, there's some sink marks there as well. Bugger. It's going to be a case of, yeah, take my time and just be careful, and don't expect Tamiya click, 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 shake and bake. Alright, so there it is. So that'll be part one. Where's the box cover so you're not looking at a blue thing? That'll be part one, and stay tuned. I hope to get part two, get this thing together, but I've got a few other things to finish first. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.